Well, welcome. My name is Jonathan Dixon, and I am going to make a presentation right now about the Long Obligatory Prayer by Baha'u'lláh, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. Baha'u'lláh gave his followers, who are known as Baha'is, 3 obligatory prayers. And you can choose whatever one you want to if you're a Baha'i. There's a short obligatory prayer which takes maybe a minute or so to say. There's a medium obligatory prayer which takes a bit longer. And then there's the the long obligatory prayer. So my presentation is about the long obligatory prayer. And this prayer is said in private. Like, nobody has ever seen me say this prayer, and I've never seen anybody else say this prayer because it's said in private. And there are actions to this prayer, and there's no real guidance that I know of other than what it actually says in the instructions as you go through the prayer as to how exactly to perform these actions. So there's a lot of individual interpretation and understanding that goes into the actions. And for some people, they can't do some of these actions because maybe they have a disability, or maybe they're quadriplegic and or have some sort of physically difficulty, something difficult that prevents them from doing these actions exactly as what it says and as it's written. So you have to make adaptations and to your situation. Now, if you have an Islamic background, a lot of these actions that it says to do are probably very similar to what you've observed in Islamic prayer, especially the obligatory prayers. But there's different ways to interpret these actions, and there certainly is no diagrams to follow, or so you just do the best you can, basically. In this prayer, sometimes it says to say the greatest name, and the form of the greatest name is Allah. Allah means God. Ul means of the. Allah means all glorious. So Allah means God of the most glorious, or is the most glorious. In my little corner of the universe, though, when I say Allah, it means something like, God, please lift me up into the heaven of your holiness. Please welcome me in your warm embrace. And it's really kind of my heart calling out to God and wanting a closer relationship with what I consider to be my best friend, the incomparable friend. And this prayer takes you on a journey. And each time you say the prayer can be a wonderful journey into new levels of thought and feelings and new understanding and new attitudes. It can be a daily adventure if you say this prayer every day. And the more you get into this prayer, the more understanding you have with the words, and the more feelings you can put into the words of the prayer, and the more sincerity, it becomes life-changing. It sort of molds how you feel and your outlook on life. And for example, if something bad were to happen to you, it helps you put it in perspective and deal with the situation calmly. And there are levels of meaning to this prayer, levels of understanding. And you will never reach the highest levels of understanding and of what this prayer is all about. You just keep on getting more and more, a greater understanding of this prayer and getting deeper and deeper into it. So I'd just like to say the prayer. I'm not going to actually pray with this prayer, but I just want to go through the prayer with you, and along with the instructions that come with the prayer. So this then is the Long Obligatory Prayer by Baha'u'llah. Whoso wishes to recite this prayer, let him stand up and turn unto God, and as he standeth in his place, let him gaze to the right and to the left, as if awaiting the mercy of his Lord, the most merciful, the compassionate. Then let him say, O thou, who art the Lord of all names, and the maker of the heavens, I beseech thee by them who are the daysprings of thine invisible essence, the most exalted, the all-glorious, to make of my prayer a fire that will burn away the veils which have shut me out from thy beauty, and a light that will lead me unto the ocean of thy presence. Let him then raise his hands in supplication towards God, blessed and exalted be he, and say, O thou that desire the world and the beloved of the nations, thou seest me turning toward thee, and rid of all attachment to anyone save thee, and clinging to thy cord, through whose movement the whole creation hath been stirred up. I am thy servant, O my Lord, and the son of thy servant. Behold me standing ready to do thy will and thy desire, and wishing naught else except thy good pleasure. I implore thee by the ocean of thy mercy and the day star of thy grace, to do with thy servant as thou wishest and pleasest. By thy might, which is far above all mention and praise, whatsoever is revealed by thee is the desire of my heart and the beloved of my soul. O God, my God, look not upon my hopes and my doings, nay, rather look upon thy will that hath encompassed the heavens and the earth. By thy most great name, O thou Lord of all nations, I have desired only what thou dost desire, and love only what thou dost love. Let him then kneel, and bowing his forehead to the ground, let him say, Exalted art thou above the description of anyone save thyself, and the comprehension of aught else except thee. Let him then stand and say, Make my prayer, O my Lord, a fountain of living waters, whereby I may live as long as thy sovereignty endureth, and may make mention of thee in every world of thy worlds. Let him again raise his hands in supplication and say, O thou in separation from whom hearts and souls have melted, and by the fire of whose love the whole world hath been set aflame. I implore thee by thy name, through which thou hast subdued the whole creation, not to withhold from me that which is with thee, O thou who rulest over all men. Thou seest, O my Lord, this stranger hastening to his most exalted home, beneath the canopy of thy majesty and within the precincts of thy mercy. And this transgressor seeking the ocean of thy forgiveness, and this lowly one the court of thy glory, and this poor creature the orient of thy wealth. Thine is the authority to command whatsoever thou willest. I bear witness that thou art to be praised in thy doings, and to be obeyed in thy behests, and to remain unconstrained in thy bidding. Let him then raise his hands and repeat 3 times the greatest name. Allah, Allah, Allah. Let him then bend down with his hands resting on the knees before God, blessed and exalted be he, and say, Thou seest, O my God, how my spirit hath been stirred up within my limbs and members, in its longing to worship thee, and in its yearning to remember thee and extol thee. How it testified to that whereunto the tongue of thy commandment hath testified, in the kingdom of thine utterance. I love in this state, O my Lord, to beg of thee all that is with thee, that I may demonstrate my poverty, and magnify thy bounty and thy riches, and may declare my powerlessness, and manifest thy power and thy might. Let him then stand and raise his hands twice in supplication and say, There is no God but thee, the Almighty, the All-Bountiful. There is no God but thee, the Ordainer, both in the beginning and in the end. O God, my God, thy forgiveness hath emboldened me, and thy mercy has strengthened me, and thy call hath awakened me, and thy grace hath raised me up and led me unto thee. Who otherwise am I that I should dare to stand at the gate of the city of thy nearness, or set my face towards the lights that are shining from the heaven of thy will? Thou seest, O my Lord, this wretched creature knocking at the door of thy grace, and this evanescent soul seeking the river of everlasting life from the hands of thy bounty. Thine is the command at all times, O thou who art the Lord of all names, and mine is resignation and willing submission to thy will, O Creator of the heavens. Let him then raise his hands thrice and say, Greater is God than every great one. Greater is God than every great one. Greater is God than every great one. Let him then kneel, and bowing his forehead to the ground, say, Too high art thou for the praise of those who are nigh unto thee, to ascend unto the heaven of thy nearness, or for the birds of the hearts of them who are devoted to thee, to attain to the door of thy gate. I testify that thou hast been sanctified above all attributes, and holy above all names. No God is there but thee, the most exalted, the all-glorious. Let him then seat himself and say, I testify unto that whereunto have testified all created things, and the concourse on high, and the inmates of the all-highest paradise, and beyond them the tongue of grandeur itself from the all-glorious horizon, that thou art God, that there is no God but thee, and that he who hath been manifested is the hidden mystery, the treasured symbol, through whom the letters B and E have been joined and knit together. I testify that it is he whose name hath been set down by the pen of the Most High, and who hath been mentioned in the books of God, the Lord of the throne on high, and of earth below. Let him then stand erect and say, O Lord of all being, and possessor of all things visible and invisible, thou dost perceive my tears and the sighs I utter, and hearest my groaning and my wailing and the lamentation of my heart. By thy might, my trespasses have kept me back from drawing nigh unto thee, and my sins have held me far from the court of thy holiness. Thy love, O my Lord, hath enriched me, and separation from me hath destroyed me, and remoteness from thee hath consumed me. I entreat thee by thy footsteps in this wilderness, and by the words, Here am I, which thy chosen ones have uttered in this immensity, and by the breath of thy revelation, and the gentle winds of the dawn of thy manifestation, to ordain that I may gaze on thy beauty and observe whatsoever is in thy book. Let him then repeat the greatest name thrice. Allah Abha, Allah Abha, Allah Abha. And bend down with hands resting on the knees and say, Praise be to thee, O my God, that thou hast aided me to remember thee and to praise thee, and hast made known unto me him who is the dayspring of thy signs, and hast caused me to bow down before thy lordship and humble myself before thy Godhead, and to acknowledge that which hath been uttered by the tongue of thy grandeur. Let him then rise and say, O God, my back is bowed by the burden of my sins, and my heedlessness has destroyed me. Whenever I ponder my evil doings and thy benevolence, my heart melteth within me, and my blood boileth in my veins. By thy beauty, O thou that desire the world, I blush to lift up my face to thee, and my longing hands are ashamed to stretch forth toward the heaven of thy bounty. Thou seest, O my God, how my tears prevent me from remembering thee and from extolling thy virtues, O thou, the Lord of the throne on high and of earth below. I implore thee, by the signs of thy kingdom and the mysteries of thy dominion, to do with thy loved ones as becometh thy bounty, O Lord of all being, and is worthy of thy grace, O King of the seen and the unseen. Let him then repeat the greatest name thrice. Allah Abha, Allah Abha, Allah Abha. And kneel with his forehead to the ground and say, Praise be unto thee, O my God, that thou hast sent down unto us that which draweth us nigh unto thee, and supplieth us with every good thing sent down by thee in thy books and thy scriptures. Protect us, we beseech thee, O my Lord, from the hosts of idle fancies and vain imaginations. Thou in truth art the mighty, the all-knowing. Then let him raise his head and seat himself and say, I testify, O my God, to that whereunto thy chosen ones have testified, and acknowledge that which the inmates of the all-highest paradise and those who have circled round thy mighty throne have acknowledged. The kingdoms of earth and heaven are thine, O Lord of the worlds. And that, my friends, is the Long Obligatory Prayer by Baha'u'llah. And I hope that at least some of you will explore this prayer and let it enrich your life as it has enriched mine. Thanks for coming, and thanks for listening.